Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Laura of Laura Plans It, and today I am walking you through the 2021 Cultivate What Matters PowerSheets Goal Planner. All right guys, I know everybody's been anticipating this video all year long. I'm still getting comments on last year's PowerSheets video. That's how popular these videos are, and that's how much I love my PowerSheets. So I am really pumped to walk you through the 2021 PowerSheets for the year from Cultivate What Matters. As you can see, I picked up the Sea Glass PowerSheets. They are a lot more blue than I thought they were going to be, but I still really love this color. I love everything about this. I have my 2020 PowerSheets here to do a quick comparison of size and layout for you, and then I'm going to go straight into walking through this. So first things first, one of the things you'll notice obviously is the color is a little bit lighter. It still has that teal coloring to it. We still have the O-ring, the O-ring closures, wire O binding in gold. I do believe it's a little bit smaller. We'll compare those in a second. The cover is pretty much identical as far as like thickness and quality. It's a nice thick book binding type cover with that linen pattern on it. We have the foiling here that says 2021 versus 2020, but it's the same look. I love that. The corners here, the gold corners, are rounded on this one versus pointy on this one. To me, that doesn't make a difference. My PowerSheets stay on my bookshelf and they come out when it's time for me to work on my tending list. So I didn't need them to have a rounded corner, but that is a really nice little detail. And I know that Cultivate What Matters is really, really focused on making sure every little detail of their product is perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put this one on top of this one to show size comparison. As you can see, the height is identical and it's hard to line it up, but the width is identical as well. So the size of the book as far as height and width is the same. When we flip it up this way, you'll see that the actual PowerSheets, and it's a little hard to see, are smaller this year. This one's got I'm gonna take this out. There's a cardboard protective sheet in there. The PowerSheets this year are smaller than last year. So let me grab my ruler here. You can see when closed down, this one here is just under 1 inch, about, I don't know, what would we call that? If that's the 7/8 of an inch. And last year's, and granted, I do have some things in last year's, but not a lot. Last year's are 1 inch, just over, slightly over 1 inch by probably about a 1/16 of an inch there. And the coils are different sizes too, actually. So we've got the coil on last year's is just under, it's probably 1 3/8 inch, and this year's coil is 1 1/4 inches, so 1 2/8. So it's a little bit smaller, which makes a difference overall. It really does. So let's go ahead and start flipping through the new PowerSheet. So as you saw, I took out the cardboard protective lining that was in here. This little booklet fell out with it, so let's take a peek at this. It says your fresh start is here, your guide to getting the most out of your PowerSheets in 2021. There's a welcome, a quick start guide on how to get going. Know your PowerSheets, so there's a whole section on, I guess, everything that's in here. Watch, learn, join, and download. And PowerSheet facts and a resource guide. So, and let's see, what is this? More to love. Oh, look at this. There's a code on the back. Use 2021 goals for free US shipping on your next order over $25. And it expires in September of 2021. You can only use it once, but that's nice. So this is a little starter booklet. Pretty neat. Last year they had like the card in there where you could write your word of the year and all that. I'm not seeing that right now. Maybe it's tucked in the back. Nope, there's another protective layer though. So I don't know if that's not included this year. I actually really loved having that. So I don't know if maybe it's somewhere else and I'm missing it, or, I mean, I doubt that they would have forgotten to put it in here. There is a pouch in the front. This one has a citrus themed pouch in it and a nice teal book lining, like page on the side. It is time for your fresh start 2021, and you can write your name in this little box here. And as I mentioned in my accessories video, one of the things that I absolutely love about Cultivate What Matters and their design and their layout is one of the things they do is add accents of foil so beautifully and so delicately that it's never too much or too little. It's just right. And I'm constantly impressed by that skill. So we've got our 2021 cover page. We've got some stickers that come with it. They did this last year as well. I always forget that there's stickers on the front because I use the goal setting sticker book. But there are some stickers up front as well, so you can do kind of your goal setting on the go. and you're ready for a new year. Ooh, 2020 was a challenging year. Talk about an understatement. So here's a welcome to 2021, and we get into really the prep work. So all the prep work's right up front. It's a lot shorter this year than it was last year. We've got our 2021 goal ideas, your about me section. So you're gonna walk through, and this was in there last year as well. I remember doing this. I'm not gonna do a side-by-side comparison of last year for a lot of these pages because my goal setting and my work through it section is very private for me. It's one of the few things I do keep private. So I'm gonna walk you through this and kind of explain what I remember doing and what I don't remember doing. But I will not be opening my 2020 PowerSheets to share that. So I'm really sorry about that for anybody who was hoping that I would do that, but I'll tell you that now so you're not waiting for it. We've got let's see, what makes you come alive, what fires me up. So these are the things that get you excited. And oh, look at this. I love how they've changed this. They used to have these like big solid boxes and now it's more white. I like that. It's actually more open to me. All right, so cultivated life evaluation. They do this every quarter in the old 2020 book. I don't see those at all unless they're part of, oh yeah, so the refresh is actually mixed into the month itself. So we'll get to that later, but the refreshes, you do kind of this evaluation. So here is another evaluation, like the beginning of your year evaluation before you even get into your goals and things. So what worked in the last year, people you're grateful for, what didn't work, so what are your challenges, lessons I learned. So it basically seems like that's a refresh and a reevaluation from 2020. I don't believe that the 2020 book has that at the end of December. So now we've kind of got that here in the beginning of 2021. Get ready to break free. How many times have you accepted defeat before even trying? So what have you decided that you can't do? I love when goal setting planners do things like this. You know, there's a lot of stuff where I think we all sit down and we say, oh, I can't do this. I can't. When you start writing it down and breaking it down and understanding why you think you can't do it, most often I find that you actually can do it. It's just overwhelming. So I love when they put that in here. Continuing on, we've got who I really am and moving past fear. So write down your fears, write the things that you want to be if you could break out of your box and continue on. Guys, just as a statement here, like not about the actual content, I am loving this new like design and layout. It's a lot cleaner feeling than last year's. These like boxes on the side. I have a background in graphic design, so I love when I see updated graphic design that looks really sharp, and this looks really sharp. All right, feel like life is flying by. Check all that apply to you. Life is too short and too meaningful to coast through it. So here's your big picture. Imagine yourself many years from now. I think they used to say 85 years, like when you're 85 or something like that. Imagine yourself at the age of 85. So looking back on your whole life, where would you like, where would you like to be grateful that you spent your time and attention? What will matter and what won't matter? This section in my 2019, I had 2019 undated PowerSheets. This was the most moving section to me and really made me stop and think about my goals way back when. And so every year I love to sit and reassess the big picture, because it really does help me realize that some of these things that I put my attention on and focus on really don't matter. And some of the things that need my attention, for them to matter, I really do need to be more focused on that. And so I love this part. I really do. All right, my cultivated year, your legacy starts now. Flip through the past few pages, which this is definitely, I think, a much more consolidated version of last year, but I don't think anything's left out per se. As far as the things that you're learning about yourself. So let's see, flip through and review everything you've written that you have in mind. Close your eyes and envision the most purposeful year yet. Write out a few sentences to describe it. My yes and no list. So what are you saying yes to? What are you saying no to? I think it's really powerful when you write down the things you're going to say yes and no to, because it kind of reminds you again what is important, what isn't important, and helps keep you focused. And of course, anytime you write something down, I think that makes a very big difference as far as your memory goes, and it kind of helps you remember to do that. Dreams become decisions when you cultivate them. Imagine it your best. It is your best year. Okay, imagine it your best year. So let's put it all together. My name is, and basically we're filling in everything, and it even tells you what pages you already did this work on. Fill it in, and it's kind of like your mission statement for the year, right? Then we get into the actual like goal setting section here. And this definitely has changed its layout. It's definitely more consolidated as well. We still have a good chunk of pages to go through. And that's one of my favorite things about PowerSheets is that there's a lot of prep work in these PowerSheets. But once you do all this prep work for the year, it's kind of like the rest of it just falls in line, and it's a lot more simple for me at least. So let's do something about it. Let's set our goals. What do you want to cultivate most in 2021? How to set goals the Cultivate way. So this kind of breaks it down a little bit better. I'm not entirely sure they had such a breakdown last year, or if they did, it wasn't as clear and like clear for me and designed well enough for me to understand it. So I really like this. Give yourself space to flourish and do a rough draft of your yearly goals. So just kind of brainstorm, write down your goals and continue on. My yearly goals. So you can they have up to 8 goals in here. I usually use, oh, here you go. If you're using the color coding system in the goal setting sticker book, place your color flags in the outlines. So the outlines are right here. You pick this up. They're kind of really hard to see. So I want you to see that these outlines are right here, this little flag outline. I hope that's easy enough for you to see. They're very, very faint. If you're not sure what they're talking about, the goal setting sticker book is this book right here. I use this all year long, and if you go to my accessories video, there is a full flip through of this book, but you can see there's flags, and there's flags for each color of, of the goals. And there are categories for the goals here that they have that I've already seemed to flip past. There's flags in the beginning too. Remember I told you I always forget that there's flags in stickers in the book, and I'm missing like that one page. There it is. So you can see each health, friends, finances, spiritual and personal growth, recreation, work, family, and spouse all align with these. So what I tend to do every year is I have a goal for each category. And some categories, my goals are much larger and need more work than other categories, but I want to be well-rounded, and I want to make sure that I have a balanced life. So for me, and I changed some of these categories too. This is not work for me. This is school, because I teach my kids. But in 2021, I might leave this as work and make that more my YouTube and Instagram, and change family to include homeschooling. So that kind of gets changed a little bit. You can change your categories any way you want. You don't have to use theirs. I tend to use theirs because for the most part they fit. So I use these stickers, and again, like I said, they have the sticker sheet in the front that I always forget exists with those same flags. There's just one of every color there, and you can categorize them that way. There's a vision board. I have never used the vision board, although this year I really feel like I would like to. So you can write things down, you can make a collage, you can put stickers, whatever it is to make your own vision board. Again, since I've never used it, I'm not one to tell you what to do, but I think a vision board can be very helpful. A lot of times I find something that I'm really trying to focus on, and I put it on my cork board in my office space. So I think this year I will start working on a vision board though. All right, so now we're getting into your word of the year. So you can brainstorm your word over here. I always find that I'll write down 5 or 6 words that are really jumping out in my mind, and then I go to a thesaurus website. I think it's just thesaurus.com or something like that. And I look up other meanings for that same word to see what really jumps off and sticks with me. My word for 2019, since I only did 6 months, I believe was balance. My word for 2020 was strive, and I really think that 2021 will probably be something along the lines of grace or balance again, something in that range where I can just tell myself, patience, take your time, do your thing. So you write down, once you figure out what your word is going to be, take your time to do this. Like really take your time, because I think that words are very powerful, and like names, they have strong meaning. When you pick your word, write it down, write your why, and then put your word places you're going to see it. And they even tell you to do that, but it's really important, I think, to do that as well. It's time to bloom where you're planted. How do you grow a garden? You tend to it little by little. All right. So now we're going to use these action plans to really break down each individual goal. There's a progress bar here. You write your yearly goal, goal 1. There's usually a spot for the flag, and I'm not seeing it this time, or maybe there's not, and I've just created a spot, but I personally would put a flag right here above where it says goal 1. Write your goal, why it's your goal, what do you need, time, money, space, expertise, emotional capacity, help from others. The goals align with big picture, yes or no list, or your word of the year. It could be all three of them for all I know, depends on what your goal is. What success looks like for this goal at the end of 2021. So not what it looks like when you're 85 or 90 or whatever, what it looks like in December. What might happen if you don't start or make progress on this goal? The people who will be positively affected by this goal and how I will have fun along the way. Then you can break it down into mini goals, kind of brainstorm here how you're going to do that. Come up with your mini goal for January through March with some action steps. My guess is that when you get to April, there's a way to refresh those mini goals somewhere, but I don't know. Yep, look at that. We'll get to that in a little bit then. So you've got your mini goals for January through March. And then, like I said, there are action plans for each goal. And I believe there's 8 goals. So you're going to see 8 pages. And again, it'll tell you your goal at the top. And I put something to show me a color code because I will write these on my wildcard sheet, which I'll show in a minute. I will tape this in every month, which I'll show you where in a minute. And I will use that flag and that color again for my reference because color coding with my goals for me is very important. It shows me, particularly in my months, what I've really been working on and focusing on and what I haven't been focusing on so that I can make sure to make that a priority. All right, so now we have our yearly overview. I won't lie, I don't use this often. So I might fill it up for January, February, and March. I never remember to come back later. I personally have a really hard time sitting down and figuring out January all the way through December when it comes to goals because so many things change. And for me, I really would rather sit down at the beginning of every quarter and kind of write out where I'd like to be. So take your mini goal and action step ideas and sketch them out on this yearly view. Give them space so everything has room to flourish. This is a place to make sure you're not growing too much at once in each month or season. Less is more, especially in January and February. I agree with that completely. I do not work on all 8 goals at one time. Generally, I pick 3 or 4 goals that really need my focus. And then if I have other things that are small that work towards the rest of my goals for the year, for example, one of my goals is I always work on health. Health is a real big thing for me and I'm absolutely terrible at it, to be quite honest. So I might have a small daily health goal like drink water or close my apple rings or things like that. That might go in, but that's not my major goal for that month. My major goal might be something that has to do with family or school or finances instead. Okay, so you get to customize these pages. You can visit the website for wildcards. You can print and cut along the dotted line and tape them in. So cultivatewhatmatters.com/wildcard. Here's a list of some of the wildcards you can get. When you purchase your PowerSheets, you can also purchase pre-printed wildcards. I have done that because I like them. They're better quality than what I'm going to print at home. I typically, and I was telling you before, I use the goal setting one. Here we go, goals at a glance. I'm gonna move that right up top here for you. Again, this has a space for flags. They're a lot clearer to see here. I put my color-coded flags here and I tape them in where the wild cards belong. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna leave these here so you can kind of see where I use them in here. Choose progress, not perfection. Little by little, a little becomes a lot and can add up to a whole new life. All right, so now we are into January. So this is the monthly tending lists. This is the section that you're going to use most often, right? So you do the prep work. I usually do this towards the end of the year. So usually like November, December timeframe. And then every month I go into these sections. So getting into January, you have important to-dos I'm excited for, on my mind, and I'm hopeful that. There is a monthly calendar. I don't typically use this spread, but it can easily be broken down if you've got some goals that have dates and deadlines. This is a great way to organize that as well. If you're tracking daily goals and you don't want to use the tending sheet, which I'll share in a minute, you can always track them in here as well and make it a little bit more fun. And there's a little section for notes here if you've got something that you want to write down for the month as well. For those people that really just need a monthly calendar and don't need a weekly planner like I use, then I actually would highly recommend using this as your monthly calendar. You can write down birthdays, you can write down events, you can kind of keep everything together, and then it's really easy to reference your goals when you get to that part. How to make a tending list. All right, so this breaks down how to use a tending list from putting it somewhere you'll see every day. You don't need to fill in every line, color coding stickers, filling in your progress bar. The goal isn't a perfectly checked off list. That is absolutely true. So the tending list, how to make a tending list, this is only going to be in January. So if you need to go back and reference it, go back to January and reference it. You can put a little page flag or something. You know, I've got all these little like page flag stickers. You can put one in there if that helps. I tend to read through this once, use this as my setup for the first month, and then I kind of just wing it for the rest of the year. But it's there if you need it. So brainstorm your month, some monthly ideas, weekly ideas, and daily ideas, so habits you want to cultivate. This section I believe is new. I think it's just monthly and weekly ideas right now. All right, this I can actually do a side-by-side because I haven't done November yet. It's still the beginning of October. So you can see that for the brainstorming, we had goals to focus on and action ideas. This one is a little bit different. It's monthly, weekly, and daily, which I think personally adds more to your actual tending list because it's broken down monthly, weekly, and daily. And I've just made a mess because of this. Because look at all this actual like open space. This is on the same layout from, so this is 2020. This is on every single month. Whereas, oh, see it, look at that, where you want to be when you're 80. See, I was right, not, you know, many years from now. So we've got a tiny little thing that reminds you how to do it. And again, you can flip here if you need some help. The tending list page itself, I'm going to flip this over, looks pretty much identical, right? So there's a little bit more space, it looks like, or more daily items. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I love it. So there's 7 daily items. I appreciate that because I always felt like I was filling up daily and not weekly or monthly nearly as much. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weekly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So less weekly items, more daily items. I like that. Then we've got monthly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Same number of monthly action items, which honestly, I do fill up monthly and daily much more than I fill up weekly. So I do prefer that. We've got the encouraging words and priority. We used to say top priority, it's just priority now. It's also a lot lighter, like a lighter gray up here than it is for the 2021s. And as I was saying about my goals at a glance, what I typically do is I will use my tending tape. And here's the new tending tape for this year. I will take a piece of the tending tape and I will tape it up here and I will move it month to month with me. Because this is basically washi tape, right? Just nice little washi tape. I'll move this month to month with me to remind me what my yearly goals are. If I get to the refresh page, which I'll show you in a minute, and my goals have changed, I will fill in a new one because it comes with a set of 4. So 1 per quarter, which is how many refreshes you're gonna wind up doing anyways. Here is a month in review. That has really changed from 2020 as well. I love how those boxes look. So here is, and they put it on the back. So this is where you can put wild cards. I don't put them there. Like I said, I put them right here, right now. But the back of your tending list, which gets you can rip it out if you want to rip it out. I never do, but you can. The back of the tending list in 2020 is a blank page. And the back of it in 2021 is your month in review, which is its own separate page with, again, a blank back for wildcards if you want. It's its own separate page in 2020. But I love, first off, I love like this color scheme where it's not all the colors at once. I think it's a lot softer than this year. I love that some boxes are bigger than others because I think there are more things that you can fill in. So it looks like we've gotten rid of a few boxes. It looks like this, a good lesson I learned, looks like maybe it's gone. And let's see, people I'm grateful for. I know that one's still in here because I see that all the time. I'm especially grateful for someone I'm grateful for. So there were 2 of those. So they've just combined that into one big block and says people instead of someone. So I like that too. All right, so that is the monthly layout. Now again, I'll show you February because January has some extra how to tend. So here is February, which again is your kind of, you know, prepare well, your monthly spread, your brainstorm, your tending list, and your month in review. Again, just like January, except we don't have the how to tend. Bloom where you've been planted. We'll get into March. We do all the exact same things in March. And then we get to April, which is the end of the first quarter of 2021. And it says your refresh is here. Now in 2020, those were individual tabs. You can see fall, spring, summer. They're all mixed in here. I don't know if there's a winter tab or not. I don't think there is. So it's just, did I do the fall one? I might not have. Oh, I did fill up the fall one. So I'm not going to share that with you because that does have a lot of private stuff in it, sorry guys. But it used to be its own separate tab. So the fact that they've taken that tab out and included it in here instead makes it, in my mind, it helps to consolidate and make this smaller, which actually makes it easier to flip through. All right, so your refresh is here. Now we've got a refresh. Here are your evaluations. So instead of having the big square blocks like we did in the very beginning, which I was having trouble finding before, here it is. So instead of having this huge evaluation, which is what they had in the 2020 planner, it looks almost identical to this, plus pick a new word if you wanted to. They've got an evaluation here. I love that it goes all the way across. It gives you more space to write in my mind. And a number audit, just like you would do in the 2020 ones. Then try this at home. Wish you had an extra 24 hours in the week. There are always 168 hours in a week. Use these tips to start tracking. Download your time tracker at this website. And then let's see, what are you saying yes to this quarter? What are you saying no to this quarter? Keep moving forward. What goal do you feel stuck on? What is holding you back from moving forward, and so on. Here's your refreshed goals. Again, if you refresh your goals, you can do it on a wildcard sheet as well. And there are, again, flags, so you can color code and organize. Yearly goals. So remember in the beginning, we had these action steps where it had your mini goals for January through March. Here are your yearly goals. You can put in goal number 1, whatever the goal is. You can put a flag or something to mark the colors if you want. Your mini goal for the next 3 months and your action steps here. And it looks like there should be 8, so 4, 8, there you go. And then let's do this April, and then you get into the April tending list. So they should have a refresh every quarter. The tending list is the same here. Everything looks identical, so May, June, July, and here's your next refresh. Again, similar setup here with your check-ins, your refreshed goals, things that you need to work on, updating your yearly goals with your mini goals for the quarter, and going into July. All right, so again, July, August, and September will all be the same. October is what I would assume is your final refresh. You get into your prep work. It is a different type of refresh here than it is in other spots. That's all right. Again, what are you feeling stuck on? Refreshing your goals, setting your mini goals for October, November, and December. And then let's do this October. Then we have November and December. Once we get to the end of your December, PowerSheets says, look at you, you did it. And again, you don't have to check every box. You don't have to do every month. I missed a couple months in 2020 because it was 2020. Let's be honest. I think we all missed some stuff in 2020. So you did it. This year you chose progress, not perfection. Again, not perfection. You moved forward through challenges. You cultivated life intentionally, and your little by little progress really added up. So here's your year in review. So you can put in here, what do you want to remember? So here you can write things down. You can put pictures, kind of like a vision board for what's happened already. It's a little scrapbook kind of thing. You've got your year in review, favorite memory, best thing I read or listened to, best new habit, person I'm most grateful for, most memorable adventure, so on and so forth, and a blank one, so you can fill it in best whatever you want to put in. And then that is the end. Let's celebrate and get ready for 2022 together. Get your new PowerSheets Goal Planner at cultivatewhatmatters.com. Now, it is a lot easier to close this way than it used to be, but these books are a lot easier to close. So the old books, here is 2020. I'm gonna slide this off to the side for just a second. Here's 2020, it's open to November. I am unable to just close it one-handed. I'm holding it here so it doesn't slide. I am unable to close it one-handed. I kind of have to wiggle it a whole bunch to get it to close. It's a beautiful binding. I really like it, but it's hard to close, and I don't like that. That's difficult for me, and there's no reason for it to be difficult. Here's this one here. I've got it. I'm gonna open it up to November. That's what I had that one open to give you a fair comparison. And here we go, one-handed close, and I'm not touching it with my other hand. So I believe they made it a smaller book and a smaller binding to make that close a lot easier. Overall, I am loving the PowerSheets. This is my goal setting planner. I do have a Moxie Life planner, and I do have a vision book from Erin Condren, but this is where I do the bulk of my goal setting. I use my Moxie Life weekly horizontal for tracking and habits and things like that, and then I transcribe everything into my PowerSheets. But this is where I do a majority of my goal setting, and I love it. I love the new 2021 PowerSheets. I love that it's more streamlined. I love the new streamlined graphics and graphic design that they use. That's a big deal for me. I think it looks cleaner. I think it looks prettier. I think it's more focused on what we need to do. without losing the important steps that you need to take to set goals. And the way that they set goals here has worked very well for me. I personally highly recommend PowerSheets. So I hope that you like this video. If you do, go ahead and hit that like button. If you'd like to pick up your own PowerSheets, I have linked them in the description below. If you'd like to see more PowerSheets and Cultivate What Matters videos, I would love if you would subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to tap that bell that turns on notifications so you're always alerted when a new video comes out. And as always, for behind the scenes, sneak peeks, and what I'm doing right now, head on over to my Instagram @LauraPlansIt. Thanks so much for watching.